Welcome to the Truman Charities podcast. I am Jamie Truman, your host. For our Vanishing Fathers series, I interviewed Camille Briggs, who has been through the unimaginable and has come out on the other side. Camille is a survivor of trafficking and has now dedicated her life to helping other women. We speak about her childhood, her journey to becoming a survivor of trafficking, and the nonprofit Camille founded, Crystal Clear Foundation, where she helps other women who have been trafficked get the education they need to start a new life. This is Camille's story. Camille, thank you so much for coming on and speaking with us today. How are you?
Totally awesome.
Good. Let's start out, from the beginning. Where and when were you born? And tell me a little bit about your family dynamic when you were a young child.
Okay, so I was born in Nashville, Tennessee. To my understanding, to father and a mother. Later on, about 9, I found out that the guy who I thought was my father was not my father. He was my stepfather. So I guess I kind of like missed out something somewhere. But later on was able to meet my real father, and he denied me. So when he denied me.
And how old were you when you went to go meet your biological father?
Well, actually, it was Christmas. I'll never forget it. He had brought, he owned a music store. He bought a lot of gifts to us in the form of musical instruments, drums, saxophones, flutes, electric piano. And I was the age of 9. And when he did that, I probably shouldn't have been wherever I was within the house, but I overheard him say that he was not my biological father. So I was under the impression that me and my older sister had the same father, and my baby sister and baby brother had the same father. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I heard that. So I think that's where the dissociation came in, probably a dilemma or trauma in my life. So now I'm searching for a father figure, which made me turn into going towards more of my stepfather as that father figure.
Mm-hmm. And what was your relationship with your stepfather from when you were younger up until 9 years old, when you learned about him actually being your stepfather?
A normal, typical middle-class family.
Okay.
There was no drugs involved in my family. They did have social, like Christmas parties or, typical normal lifestyle. But there was one issue that surfaced is my stepfather, I guess being that I was longing for a father or whatever, he molested me and my oldest sister. And that went on for years, I think. And back then, you didn't tell, you did what your mother and father said. If not, you would get beat or whooping, or however you want to say it. And yeah, so it didn't never, no one never said anything about it, which for me, I was acting out, in school and different areas within that journey of that. It didn't come out until I was about 11. Okay. I saw some, we had moved to another home, a bigger space or whatever. And I saw some pictures, and it was pictures of my sister. He used to be a truck driver, my stepfather was.
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw the pictures. I went and got my mother. She got in the cab because I was supposed to be making up the bed. But when I lifted the mattress up, there was these pictures. And so once she saw the pictures, she didn't say anything. He had to go out of town because his job, he worked for Lee's company. And he left like that Sunday. I think I made the bed up on Saturday to get him ready for Sunday. And then that following Monday, she was working on a way for us to get out.
And then how long from discovering the photos did you leave?
So my mother went to the authorities. Then she got a court hearing. All this was supposed to be like closed case
Mm-hmm.
situation, but it didn't happen that way. What happened is when he came back from his job,
Mm-hmm.
the police was waiting for him.
Mm-hmm.
It was on the news, the newspaper, about the fact that he had molested two of his children. And which that did a big turn, within me and my sister's life. She's 4 years older than me. And she ended up getting pregnant by him. It was just like all blown out. The whole thing, to be so young. I think I was by then, 9 is when I actually, came out about.
You were 11 when your mom left him and when the authorities came. And at that point, your sister then is 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then how did that feel when he was arrested?
I had no emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I had no emotions about it. Plus the fact, you're young and all of, being abused in that type of way of molestation, being molested, you kind of like suppress your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really know how to address some of the things that you feel about the whole situation. When I think about it, from probably maybe 5 to 11, I was at that age being molested. After that, like I said, I started acting out. I started being involved with boys. Eventually, by the age of 13, I was already sexually active. By the age of 16, I started using drugs. I attracted older guys, maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 years older than I was.
When you were 16?
Yeah.
The
Actually, I graduated from high school at 16.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I had my first job at 13. That's kind of like something my mother mostly instilled: go to work or school, period. I'm still doing that now today. But yeah, so just a whole lot of different events really turned in my life. I started gravitating, mostly and attracted older men. As far as older men, it was like a trophy to have a younger woman.
Mm.
For me, it was the glamorous life of what I can get from that person. And being that I was into the drug scene and I'm with the older people and I thought I had it going on. I thought I was grown. I know how life is supposed to be. At the age of 19, I was abducted and taken and ended up doing sexual exploitation. prostitution in a whole nother state because the guy took me from a whole nother state. And that went on, the mental and the physical abuse about that too. Mind you, I never did heal from the beginning as a child.
Did you know
I
this
was trying to.
man? Did you know this
No,
man?
I did not know him. I didn't know him from Adam for Eve. I just so happened to be. I ended up at a hotel at one point due to the usage, of drugs, and I was walking to go get something to eat, and I ran into these three guys. Never seen them a day in my life. He had drugs at that point. I had a good paying job or whatever. Just the drugs kind of like took me on out. And so when I met him, he had it. I'm 19 though. I'm still a child. Being still a child, but still trying to be grown in a child's body, in a child's mind. I like to say it was a robbery in process. Is what this was for me. Now that I'm older, I was robbed from my life of what I could have been. And even with using drugs and being in that prostitution lifestyle, I still try to come out of it in some type of way of being positive, trying to do something different. Then kids came along, then being on the run. Then, it was just a ripple effect of mentally and physically and spiritual broken down. I think about 96, from, I don't know, maybe 89 to about 96, I was in that abusive relationship. We,
And
I
this
used,
is, and you said that you went to a different state, right? He had taken you to.
I've been to 32 states.
Okay.
And lived 32.
Wow.
In the life. Also along the way, I was that recruiter. After a while, when the kids started coming along, I was the recruiter and I brought other women in. I would always run them off though, because I was like, he had me mentally and physically. I was like, you don't need anybody else. I can do this for you. And I know I'm older now, but I don't look my age.
You look very young.
Well, that's another story. But yeah. 96 came, we was on America's Most Wanted. They finally got us.
What were you on America's Most Wanted for?
Well, actually, it would have been for him.
Okay. You were just
because we fled a whole state. I'm kind of like skipping into some, some things. I can name off all the states if I needed to, but I don't see what.
No, that's okay.
Kind of like reliving it sometimes. Looking back over it, I couldn't believe that I allowed myself to get so deep within the drugs, the prostitution, the lifestyle, because I really wasn't raised like that. My mother did a hell of a job raising 4 kids. Yes, everybody wants that typical husband wife thing, but she was the mother and father of that household. Yeah, when I say a robbery in process, it did start at home because it was like whatever my stepfather, if he wanted something, I wanted something. That's where the pattern started at.
Right.
So I do recognize that part. Was I aware that I was doing that? No, really wasn't. Did I want to continue to doing that? No. But even as I got older, no. And I think that's where the drugs came in mostly too. Because I medicated myself so that I can even deal with the point that somebody's touching me. Now here today, I really don't I don't even have a boyfriend, and I'm not a bad looking woman or whatever. But I just feel like I need to just learn how to love myself more so. If God wants me to have someone, then it'll happen.
Tell me a little bit about in 96, we'll go back.
Okay.
And so you guys were on America's, or he was, and
But I was on there also because
you're with
my
him.
mom was looking for me.
Okay.
They had an APB. Yeah. She had been looking for me because I had been gone so many years. Nobody knew if I was dead or not. She knew that I used, but she didn't know anything because I didn't have a communication. Once he took me out of town, that was the cutoff of anybody who loved me, period. Learn how to love him, depend on him, because he rehearsed me into that, coerced me into that. You know, if the carpet was green, I knew it was blue, it was green. You know, 96, yeah, we had lived in, like I said, pretty much 32 states. And finally, it was Minnesota, like 95. And he had gotten some girls from out a trap house, and they were already beat up, not knowing that their parents was looking for them either. He showed me the people, but I told him that they were too young. He was like, shut up, B, you don't know what you're talking about, or whatever. The next thing I know, our phone was tapped. That's how we ended up being with Americans Most Wanted, because whoever the girls were, they were looking for him. And so his brother was with us also, and he went to the hotel. When he went to the hotel, I'll never forget it because it was New Year's Eve. He went to the motel to find out why he blowing the phone up. They blowing the phone up so much. That's because the police was waiting for him to come back. He didn't come back. He sent his brother. And so his brother confessed on us. And so they tapped our phone. When they tapped our phone, then he came up with a plan, as usual, to get away. And we parked the cars in the garage. He called somebody. He took one of the cars, one of the Cadillacs, and he left. He sent for somebody to get him to drive for him. And then the next day, I packed up all the kids. This was my lifestyle for years, packing up all the kids, making sure all paperwork, going to the bank, getting money out, because all this stuff was in my name. I mean, everything, houses, cars, it was never on, it was all on me. So when if they were looking for him, they were looking for me. And I didn't even know that I was in the lifestyle because I didn't grow up from that. I was green in that, and so, yeah. So, I mean, that went on for years. You mess up in a state, we pack up, we go. That's how the 32 states came into play. Then 96 came. We were already on the run because it was on Americans Most Wanted. They found us at the movie theater. They had cleared out the movie theater. We didn't even know about it. And as soon as we walked out, the police was coming up. They opened the trunk. We had clothes. We had fake IDs. Just the whole 9 yards. We were supposedly to be armed and dangerous. And so they expedited him to all the states that we had went through, and then expedited me back to Nashville, my hometown. Never been in trouble a day in my life. I'm talking about no juvenile, no jail or anything until October 19th, 1996. It was a day before my birthday. Oh. That's how I know it. It's so funny, people don't really forget dilemmas in their life. That was a dilemma in my life because I'm here now fixing to go to jail for something that I didn't even realize that I was in. But what they did get me on, and it was because he taught me how to do it, was criminal impersonation and forgery, because they saw all these different IDs with my name, everything on there.
Right.
So that's what they expedited me for and put me in jail. And I stayed in there for about 2 weeks before they let me out. And they let me out on my own precautionist, whatever it is. And once I did get out, had a nervous breakdown. I didn't know how to restart my life. Luckily, my family came into play. They helped me out to raise my kids. But it really helped me also to push myself back out there, because I didn't know how to change at that time.
So where did you stay?
So I had a house. We had a house in Nashville, and right up the street from Nashville, right up the street from the house that we had in Nashville, there was a girl that I knew he used to serve drugs to. And she also came and cleaned the house up for drugs, and also came and babysitted our kids, So I knew that she lived up the street. And so I got her and told her, because I went back to where he stashed the dope and the money and all that. I went back to Knoxville and got it. Came back, had her with me. I didn't know she was strung out as much as she was, but she was, because I still don't know or understand about the lifestyle. Even at that age, even though I was going through it, I didn't know. That's how clouded up I was. I really didn't know. And so I got her, and she didn't know I had like over $10,000 on me, and I had like 1.5 ounces of drugs on me. She didn't know that. She just knew that I would leave out the room or whatever, and I did it, and I'll bring it back to her. And so then when I had the nervous breakdown, had ulcers on my tongues, my ears was messed up or whatever, she kept coming to me. I was so deathly sick. And I ended up going through all of that stuff. All of it, by giving it to them. They're saying they're selling it. I'm trusting in you to bring me back the money. You're not. It was a big mess because it wasn't my lifestyle. I don't know how to do it.
Right.
So, but as time went on, then I learned how. I started surviving in it. Started learning more of how it worked on my own until I ran into another trafficker. I had 3 by the first one and 1 by another one. And he lived in my hometown, which I didn't know him at first, but you kind of like go with wherever the herd went. Somebody's using. You end up where somebody's using. And yeah.
And what year was
18
this?
years. I met him about in 98. It wasn't too much longer.
Yeah.
Right after that. About 98. And it started off, I went through a program trying to get myself clean, got out of the program, and then got bored, had car, house, everything. Got bored and took myself to the life back out there to where somebody's using, because I don't know where it is in Nashville, and I lived there all my life, pretty much, other than when I was traveling. And so once that happened, I used to go over there, like when I got paid, and then I'll go home or whatever. But then it was a time that I lost my job due to my usage. So I ended up there. And ending up there, still had my house or whatever, but ending up there, I was there and was in a car accident. When I was in a car accident, all of this was out, a half an eyelid. All of this was out.
Oh, wow.
A half an eyelid.
Oh, yeah.
This blinking, nothing here.
Oh, wow.
And a hairline fracture in my pelvis bone.
Oh, my gosh. That's a very serious car accident.
Well, I wasn't driving. Someone else was. We was going on a run, and she had been up. She hit an electrical pole, and when she hit that electrical pole, that was it. And nobody even told me I was messed up the way I was. Only thing I could think of was to use. I even went on a date on a walker because I needed that money so that I can be able to get high. That's the insanity of this. This is the insanity of it.
So when you're saying a date, you mean like a client?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, and the client told me, I didn't know you was that serious. Wait till you heal up and then come back. Okay. But we still did whatever. So he's just as sick as I was, but whatever. I tried back again in 2002. And that's because some friends of mine, they got out of the life and they would come back and get me. And I hang out with them for a while, and then I'll go back and stay in the lifestyle. But eventually I did go into, I'm not for sure if I should say the name of it or not, but Magdalene with Thistle Farms. I stay within that. It's a 2-year program. I stayed in that for 9 months. And then I went back to that same trafficker, the one I had the accident with, and stayed out until 2018. From 2018, that's all I did was come up with bright ideas to be able to get one more. Came up with I had house and I had jobs, but it was temporary. Not knowing that all of this is just spiraling. Trying to live on both sides of the fence. Trying to, my kids with my family, but trying to like give them money. I was there physically, far as money wise, wasn't there mentally, which now I'm still patching up the relationship now about that. And they're grown now, so that's even worse. I don't care how many times I tell them, sorry, I wasn't in my right mind or whatever. I have two, my two oldest are on board, but last two, oh my God. We need to go to some.
And how many children do you have?
I have 4 kids.
4 kids. Oh,
and 10 grandbabies.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's a lot of grandbabies.
Yeah. Well, yeah. 2018, I moved to Atlanta. Went to another 2-year program. In a pandemic, that would have been the logical time to go out and use and stuff. But I was determined this time that I was going to make a change in my life. What has happened to me, the drugs usage, whatever that I have back in the past gone through, I'm not going to let that dictate what my life look like. I'm just not going to do it.
And why do you think that particular time was the time that you decided that this is it?
If I tell you, you'll be like, oh my God, this woman is crazy. But what made the turnaround is that it was Thanksgiving 2018. The people who was within my household and my other kid's father, my last child's father, we had a house together because his dad gave it to us because I helped take care of him through all this madness. I still was a caretaker, but anyway, I went on that last run to get the drugs because, the dope dealers still eat with their families and stuff, right? And I call myself doing something nice for the ones that can't go home, have burnt bridges. My morals and stuff, although I was using and stuff, I always tried to be kind to other people. It's just in me like that. When I say no, my heart won't let me say no. I will still do it anyway. And so I cooked this turkey and ham and macaroni and cheese with sweet potatoes. I mean, just the whole Thanksgiving dinner. I left. And when I came back, the turkey was gone out of the oven. Seriously.
Well, where was it?
The people who I left in my house took the turkey and blamed it on the dog. And I just lost it. When I tell you I lost it, I lost it. I know for 8 hours I was on the phone calling people, telling them I made this big fabulous dinner and and everything, and somebody stole the turkey, they blamed it on the dog. It was just, all day I'm messed up because I'm drinking and still smoking, and there's this turkey gone. But the next day, the person who stole it came back. And I took her hair and I wrapped it, and I just literally started beating this woman. I had an out-of-body experience, and I know people, out-of-body. Yes, I can see myself looking down at myself, beating this person to a pulp. And I could feel it in my body where I wanted to kill this person. Because all the years I've been living, I've never heard anybody steal a turkey out of anybody's oven. And that was the day I knew I would no longer live like this. I never want to feel that in my body again, where I could be sitting in jail now if I would have, well, it took about 8 people to get me off of it, but I'm just saying, if it was differently, I could be sitting in jail right now. Oh,
right. If those other people weren't there. Yeah.
So I reached out to my friends that I tried to live on both sides of the fence with. They contacted Atlanta, Love Atlanta, and they sent me here. And I've been going ever since.
And how was that like the first few days?
When I got to Atlanta, it was a relief. It was a new beginning. Did I know what it was going to be like? No. because you're looking at 32 years worth of wreckage, knowing and unknowing. Things I needed to really start looking at, things I really needed to work on, things I needed to start being accountable for and having responsibilities. And I didn't know how to do it. So I needed to take my hands off the wheel and allow somebody in to help me, to help guide me. It was like I was crawling all over again and taller until I could get on my feet and start walking and dictating, what my life is supposed to be for me. I was no longer in bondage. I was free. And I didn't care what or who and why. I didn't even care about that anymore. I started caring about me. And it's been the most beautiful journey that I have ever been on in my life. I used to always say I'm joyous, happy, and free. Now I know what joyous, happy, and free is. I really do. Excuse me.
Oh. And so what is your relationship now with your family?
I never stopped having a relationship with my family. They didn't understand it because they never used drugs. I'm the one that made a choice to go the way that, I went. I did that to me. I didn't have to. I'm very much so educated.
Do you feel
But
your relationships have changed since you've been here?
Like I said, I think me and my two youngest kids, they're in their 20s. They in that age bracket that they rule the world now. That's not just mine. That's all of them. Yeah, so I'm trying to get that figured out, trying to mend, that bond with them. I think it's kind of hard a little bit. It's hard a little bit because the only thing everybody seemed like it was okay when your mother was out there and she was doing whatever. And now that I'm not, it's like you don't have anything to talk about. Well, you do, but you choose not to. You choose to talk about what hurt you, which the usage of the drugs or being with, their fathers or whatever that looked like. And I've always had an open channel with them. My mom said I shouldn't have told them. And as far as I was concerned, well, Mom, if you would have told, you shelled us from the street, but I still took myself to the streets due to curiosity. Or it was glamorous to me, not knowing that I was taking the wrong path or wrong road. So I felt like I had an open channel with them. So they wouldn't have to go through that. But along the way, their feelings and emotions are valid. I get it. And there's some work and some work that needs to be done in it. I just pray about it. I'm gonna allow you to come to me. I've already been going to you, trying to have a conversation about it, and you're not ready. Mm-hmm. So fine. So whenever they do decide if we need to get a therapist or somebody to mediate it, okay, fine. I'm okay with that. Since this journey, did the 2 years program, I completed it. I have a 2-bedroom townhouse two full bath and a half, living room, dining room. I ran into like the last 6 months of the program, Empower Her Network, and they have been in my corner. They have been guiding me. They have been leading me. I have been, my mentor, well, my advocate, she just passed away here recently. So we just finished grieving that. It's still grieving in it because she became like my mother, my mentor, she did a lot of impact. She really believed in me. Some of those times I didn't go out and use or get in a relationship or nothing, but some of those times that I felt like, giving up, she was there. I'm still here today. I'm also a representative for Empire Her Network in Atlanta.
And what do you do as a representative?
So basically, it's a group of us from my state for Empower Her Network, kind of like a sisterhood amongst us. Since my applicant just passed away, they kind of closed it down for a minute. So they're trying to rethink of how they want to continue, that part of the program. But what I did do, so far, we were in a lot of trainings to be able to speak, as I'm doing now today, to be able to talk to other surviving women.
Mm-hmm.
Also, within Empower Her Network, most of the series that they had, I was able to go back in. I facilitate groups for ending the games at different organizations. Mm-hmm. I started with the one that I was at because for 2 years, not one time did you talk about, some of the issues that we needed to work on. So I took a curriculum back in the game for that. Also, I've been, I don't know, they just leveled me up to the next level.
You've also done a lot with other organizations as well.
Yeah, well, it's my life now.
Yeah.
I want to be able to give back and to help other women, not to go through the same things that I have gone through, knowing and not knowing. I want to be that advocate or that voice for another woman that wants to get out of the lifestyle and don't know how to get out of the lifestyle, which moves me into, I took a business class with Shine San Diego. I completed the class and I have started my own organization.
Tell me about that. Which is
called Crystal Clear Foundation. Narrowing the gaps of what we've missed. I've noticed so many different organizations. It's not enough just for housing. There are other things that we're needing as a survivor, things that we might have not known how to do. And so I'll be mostly resourcing. I'll be working with the ages 18 and up, because that's when I started. I can tell you a whole book, which I'm trying to write that now too. Got a lot of stuff on it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't have enough time in a day, but I get it a lot done. So I'll be working with 18 to 25. I will be having school. If they don't have their GED, GED will be into it. Then medical assistants, behavioral health tech, CNAs will be within that organization, which is my organization. I have my 501c3. I finally got it.
Congratulations.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. pretty
Wow.
much now.
You have accomplished quite a bit. I'm very excited about your nonprofit. That is
Right. Me
that's
too.
huge. Yeah. Well, before I let you go, is there anything else that we haven't covered that you want to talk about?
Just trust and believe someone else has already done it for you. And if they can live to talk about it, then please trust and believe it's real.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. I think you're going to help a lot of young women.
That's my intentions.
All right, well, thank you.
All right.
If you enjoyed this episode in our Vanishing Fathers series, please make sure to rate and review this podcast. The reviews really do count. If you'd like to hear more about the statistics and further understand the impact on fathers in society, please purchase our book, Vanishing Fathers, A Ripple Effect on Tomorrow's Generation. All proceeds from the book will directly go to charities that are helping at-risk youths. And if you'd like to follow us online, go to our website, trumancharities.com, Facebook @Truman Charities, Instagram, Jamie_Truman Charities, and you can follow me on LinkedIn @Jamie Truman. Thank you so much for listening to our Vanishing Fathers series, and please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any further episodes.